Hey, I'm Faraz Ahmed, and I'm working in Bureau of Energy Efficiency as a project associate. Today I'm going to talk about water consumption pattern in a high-rising building and involving water conservation options. As we all know that water is the most essential resource available to us, and it cannot be translated with any of the resource. If we talk about the freshwater resources, it's very unique, crucial, and scarce resource. But with unabated industrial and infrastructural development and population growth, the stress for water has increased. The water is not as available as per our requirement. So the supply-demand gap is increasing day by day, and it will be increasing in the coming future. As our other scenario is that as our Indian economy is rising, so more and more number of people are coming to urban areas in search of employment and basic needs. As in metropolitan cities, the location and space is the most constant thing. So the most important thing is housing here. So and the construction is going on and as powerful. So here comes a term called high-rising buildings. According to Delhi Fire Prevention and Safety Act, high-rising building is a building which has a height of 15 meters and above, and with all fire safety implements there. So I've tried to link between what is the water consumption, water consumption patterns in a high-rising building, and what are the wastages points there, and how we can rectify that. These are my objectives. Assessing the water consumption pattern in high-rising building, identify the use at various locations, identifying the reasons of wastage losses, and suggesting appropriate solutions. What our methodology was: collection of secondary data with discussion with people there, water bills there, and checking the water meters. This means gadgets there. Primary data collection was done by 3 methods. One was ultrasonic flow meter. Second one was filling method. In filling method, we used to take a calibrated tumbler, and with the help of stopwatch, we used to calculate the flow rates of wash basins, taps, and flushes. In third method, dip method called as, in third method, we used to calculate the flow of overhead connected tanks with the help of a measuring tape. We calculated the volume of overhead tanks, and then we, on the basis of drop in water levels, we calculated the flow as flow meter cube per second. My study area was Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce. There's a building in Connaught Place, Barakamba Road. It is approximately 22 meters high with and has 4 floors. This was the water distribution system there. As any of the capital building, it needs fresh water for its supply. There are 2 NDMC lines, and those water is stored in 20,000 liters capacity underground interconnected tanks. From these 2 underground interconnected tanks, they were, with the help of these 3 pumps of 10 HP each, water was pumped to overhead tanks with 18,000 and 19,000 capacity. From these 2 overhead tanks, water was supplied to different floors on the building. These were the area and location of water consumption. Water taps which are frequently used by people for hand washing. Toilets which is intermittent use. Kitchen was located in the 3rd floor. It was used as number of seminars and events being organized there. Tea rooms for preparation of working tea. Floor cleaning which was done daily and every hour. Gardening which used to be done daily in the morning, but they used to use raw water there. Drinking, intermittent use. Others were DG cooling set, makeup water, and bottled water. This was we estimated total water consumption came out to be 25 kiloliters. This was calculated by filling method, as I told you. So here we can see kitchen uses maximum amount of water around 12 kiloliters. But if we sum total of all the components in the washroom, like flush, toilet taps, wash basin, and urinals, it came the sum total came over 50% of 51% of the total. That is around 13 kiloliters. So here we can see that in this building, washroom is the highest consumption of water. Now we sum total of all the kitchen and washrooms, we estimated water consumption floor wise. Here we can see that the ground floor is the maximum consumption of water because of higher floor rates there, and there were around 4 washrooms and 2 kitchens. So ground floor has a maximum consumption. But third floor was a conference room where all the meetings and events were organized. So as per any meeting and or events, the water consumption used to go as high as 10 kiloliters per day. And second floor is the minimum because of the low faucets there and low number of taps. This is the percentage pie chart which we can see. We divided water consumption into peak hours and non-peak hours. There are working and non-working days. First table shows you about peak hours in working and non-working days. Peak hours used to be around from the morning, the first hour, in which people use maximum amount of water, like they refresh themselves. And the second peak hour was 1 to 2 p.m. 1 to 2 p.m. because it's a lunch time, and people use washrooms, and the canteen water is used highly. So we can see that in peak hours from 1 to 2, on working days, highest consumption goes around 4,000 liters. And as much as the water is consumed, loss will be high. So loss was around 500 liters. But in non-peak hours, the consumption goes as high as 2,000 liters per day. And loss will be low. But in non-working hours, in peak hours, non-working days, consumption was not as high, and the loss was not that one. These were the recommendations. We divided recommendations in 3 parts. One was investment at edge. Second one was monitoring at edge recommendation. Third one was low or no cost solutions. First one is investment at edge recommendation. In this, we recommended them to use the waterless urinals. In waterless urinals, no water is used, but it's a sealant liquid which is lighter than water, and whose specific gravity is less than water. So it floats on the top of the water and prevents bad smell. If we install these waterless units, approximate saving was coming around 150 kiloliters annually. Second one was using low flush systems. In low flush systems, there is a saving of approximately 50%. Because as usual, flushes consume around 10 per flush consume around 10 to 12 liters of water. But if we install low flush systems, there is a water consumption comes to around 5 to 6 liters. So there was then we calculated it comes to around 1200 kiloliters annually per year. Then we suggested them to use aerators in them. Aerators is a net type of thing on the top of a faucet, which spreads the water stream into different droplets. Then and the flow is reduced. Exploring the possibility of rainwater harvesting, they can store water or rainwater on the roof, and through a common conduit they can store the water on an underground tank, and then that water can be used by flooring or gardening purposes. Monitoring relation, the specific energy consumption was around 0.14, which is very satisfactory, but it was based on quite assumptions. So our detailed study was required. Proper water distribution diagram was not up to the mark there, so we asked them to have a proper water distribution diagram. The third one was low and no cost solutions. It was recommended to raise the level of infrared sensors in the wash basin to prevent approximately 0.15 liters of unused water to be dispersed. The waste was around 155 kiloliters annually. There were many leakages. We asked them to erase the leakages. And it saved around 95 kiloliters of water. Water meters were asked them to check for its functionality. Recycling of water estimates to be around 17,000 liters per day. So from this we can see that there is a large saving potential which needs to be harnessed, but it's still a neglected area. The saving potential is there in the buildings, and if we try, we can save our resource. Thank you.
So this water consumption pattern that you've studied, this was only in office space or residential areas also?
We have studied in office space. It can be done in the residential buildings also.
Okay.
Yeah.
So similar recommendations you suggest to various societies and...
Yeah, similar recommendations. One or two recommendations, just if low flush systems we can and use of aerators we can do. Then if there is a large surface area of roof, then we can suggest them rainwater harvesting. Many of the things and then water recycling we can offer them.
Yeah, why I was mentioning this was because it's a very relevant and important point, especially the waterless toilets that we have, and so awareness of this needs to be created all across the society to increase the usage of such things, because I think we are heading towards water shortages, and there seems to be a good solution for that. So have you done something to really popularize
we suggested that this in this building, and they are keeping the waterless urinals now.
Okay.
Tell me, Mr. Faraz, आपने इतने सारे सिस्टम कर दिए ये ना मापने के लिए कि कितना पानी वेस्ट हो रहा है. वेयर इज अ सिंपल थिंग कि टैंक 1000 लीटर की टैंकी अगर एक दिन में 500 खाली होती है तो 500 लीटर ही पानी लग रहा है. अगर आपने फ्लो मीटर्स लगा दिए और ऑल दी सिस्टम्स यूज्ड, सो आई फाइंडिंग दैट वेरी अननेसेसरी, बिकॉज यू कैन एस्टिमेट कि इतना पानी गया टैंक में, उसमें से इतना एक दिन में यूज है तो आपको कैपेसिटी मिल गई उसकी. नंबर 1. नंबर 2, आपने सारे इस प्रोग्राम में, इस इंटरवेंशन में कहीं पे पीपल बिहेवियर पे कोई स्टडी नहीं करी कि लोग पानी को कैसे यूज करते हैं. वो दैट इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्ट ऑल्सो. It's like when you brush your teeth in the morning, you might keep the tap running. Okay, so unless you have a behavior pattern in this, you cannot recommend. You can really not recommend. Just putting gadgets is not going to solve is not going to make you save water. Thirdly, you've not thought of recycling the water at any stage. It's a vertical building. It's more than 15 meters in height. It's much more easier to put in systems of recycling because the outflow points are practically on the ground floor. So these are my observations, but that's
So actually about the personal behavior, as I've told you, by in filling method, what we used to do, we used to calculate water. We used to, there was a calibrated tumbler with us of 1 liter capacity. Then we used to notice, with the help of time watch, we used to notice how many times, in what amount of time this tumbler was filling. Then flow rate used to come meter cube per second. Then we used to multiply it with the number of with the total amount of hours it was working. We used to get the total quantity per day. Kitchen use office timings were around 8 hours, so around 6 hours kitchen tap was working.
I understand what you did. What I'm asking is it not just enough to know कि this is one tank which has got say 10,000 liters capacity, and after 24 hours you measure the water volume. It's very simple. Yeah, you can get volume, simple as a formula, length into breadth into height or whatever. So you can know exactly how much water was consumed in that 24 hours. You didn't need to do the flow meters and become so technical. Sometimes simplicity is the answer.
But sir, there was two methods I've told you. One was dipping and one was filling. Dipping method used to calculate the drop in the overhead tanks. What is the volume consumed? And the one is from estimated by filling method. So the difference between these two can come to be as loss.
No, but you were trying to calculate how much was the water consumption.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
है।